Hello, friends. You are going through the pages of Think Big, the book on motivation and leadership. And I'm your favorite Dr. A.P. Gaur, the author of the book. And today's topic is Let Others Feel Important and Love Them. Being polite. Friends, you must have heard the famous Vodafone Delights tagline. Isn't it nice when someone makes you feel special? I guess we all feel nice when we are given preferential treatment. So, how about being someone else's reason of delight or even just giving them their due respect? I'm sure you have heard the quote, do unto others what you want others to do to you. Be nice to people around you. Every time we interact with people, remember that a smile, a wink, a raised hand, a small pat on the back, a firm handshake, that is all it takes to show your appreciation. A lot of times we tend to believe that such small gestures don't make any difference. Think again, and I'm sure you will think otherwise. I agree that while at work, it might be someone's duty to a particular job and doesn't call for a thank you. Yet, we should try to be polite with all those we interact. We should respect everyone and not look down upon anyone. As a team manager would agree, every team member is important in the team. Everyone in the team is like a piece of a jigsaw puzzle, and the picture would not be complete without each one of them. Just imagine a day when your maid wouldn't turn up, your office boy or the housekeeping guy is on leave. The job they do isn't easy, so respect that. A lot of times we may be facing the wrath of someone with no fault of our own. At times, with so much pressure, frustration, and despair all around us, we tend to lose our temperament and shout, even abuse people for something they do which upsets us. Look around the incidents of road rage, they are on the increase. Any provocation and our emotions just erupt like a volcano. It does not get square if we vent out all our frustration on someone else. Let me clarify that being polite does not mean being a soft rubber that anyone can tread over. If your team member is not doing what he is supposed to do and deserves a dressing down, the same should be done in private and not in open forum. I strongly believe that being polite and giving respect is a sign of strength and not weakness. Be strong. Take charge of your emotions and channel your energy. I know it's easier said than done. Go through the following three stories and see if they can give you some insights. For me, I do follow and practice them in my life. Don't think I am preaching only. I do practice and follow before that. The first story is love in action. One night, a man came to his neighbor and told him, there's a family with 8 children. They have not eaten for days. The benevolent neighbor took some food and went away. When he finally came to the family, he saw the faces of those little children disfigured by hunger. There was no sorrow or sadness in their faces, just the deep pain of hunger. The man gave the rice to the mother. She divided it into two and went out, carrying half the rice with her. When she came back, the man asked her, where did you go? She gave this simple answer, to my neighbors, they are hungry too. Other story is hospital window. Two men, both seriously ill, occupied the same hospital room. One man was allowed to sit up in his bed for an hour each afternoon to help drain the fluid from his lungs. His bed was next to the room's only window. The other man had to spend all his time flat on his back. The men talked for hours on bed. They spoke on their wives and families, their homes, their jobs, their involvement in the military services, where they had been on vacation, etc. Every afternoon, when the man in the bed by the window could sit up, he would pass the time by describing to his roommate all the things he could see outside the window. The man in the other bed began to live for those 1 hour periods where his world would be broadened and enlivened by all the activity and color of the world outside. The window overlooked a park with a lovely lake. Ducks and swans played on the water while children sailed their model boats. Young lovers walked arm in arm amidst flowers of every color, and a fine view of the city skyline would be seen in the distance. As the man by the window described all this in exquisite detail, the man on the other side of the room would close his eyes and imagine the picturesque scene. One warm afternoon, the man by the window described a parade passing by. Although the other man couldn't hear the band, he could see it in his mind's eye as the gentleman by the window portrayed it with descriptive words. Days and weeks passed. One morning, the day nurse arrived to bring water for their baths, only to find the lifeless body of the man by the window, who had died peacefully in his sleep. She was saddened and called the hospital attendants to take the body away. As soon as it seemed appropriate, the other man asked if he could be moved next to the window. The nurse was happy to make the switch, and after making sure he was comfortable, she left him alone. Slowly, painfully, he propped himself up on one elbow to take his first look at the real world outside. He strained to slowly turn to look out the window beside the bed. It faced a blank wall. The man asked the nurse what could have compelled his diseased roommate, who had described such wonderful things outside this window. The nurse responded that the man was blind and could not even see the wall. She said, "Perhaps he just wanted to encourage you." The third story is about two horses. God's ways cannot simply be described. He helps and guides us at our every step, most of the time, with the help of our friends or the people who come across in our lives. Read this interesting story to know more about His ways. Just up the road from my home is a field with two horses in it. From a distance, each horse looks like any other horse. But if you stop your car or are walking by, you will notice something quite amazing. Looking into the eyes of one horse will disclose that it is blind. His owner had chosen not to have him put down, but has made a good home for him. This alone is amazing. If you stand nearby and listen, you will hear the sound of a bell. Looking around for the source of the sound, you will see that it comes from the smaller horse in the field. Attached to the horse's halter is a small bell. It lets the blind friend know where the other horse is, so he can follow. As one stands and watches these two friends, one will see that the horse with the bell is always checking on the blind horse, and that the blind horse will listen for the bell and then slowly walk to where the other horse is, trusting that he will not be led astray. When the horse with the bell returns to the shelter of the barn each evening, It stops occasionally and looks back, making sure that the blind friend isn't too far behind to hear the bell. Like the owner of these two horses, God does not throw us away just because we are not perfect or because we have problems or challenges. He watches over us and even brings others into our lives to help us when we are in need. Sometimes we are the blind horse being guided by the little ringing bell of those who God places in our lives. Other times we are the guide horse helping others to find their way. Good friends are like that. You may not always see them, but you know they are always there. And leave the rest to God. For we walk by faith and not by sight. Please listen for my bell, and I will listen for yours. And remember, be kinder than necessary. Everyone you meet is fighting some kind of battle. Live simply, love generously, care deeply, speak kindly, and you will see the change in the entire world. Thank you very much, friends. Thanks for watching.